Now at 6 and streaming on crossroadstoday.com, activists are calling for hate crime charges against a woman who tried to drown two Muslim children. In Texas is set to execute a 41-year-old man for the murder of an 18-year-old in 2001. And the presidential debate just one day away. We take a look at their debate prep this evening.
We're looking at temperatures staying in the mid-90s, but the tropics are getting kind of busy. We'll be talking about that coming up in a moment.
And Jim Schlossnagle introduced as the newest head coach of the University of Texas baseball team. I'll have what he said coming up in sports.
You're watching 25 News Now at 6. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Karina Garcia. Don Brubaker has the night off. Authorities in El Campo are investigating a fatal shooting that happened this morning. Police say the shooting took place at 10 a.m. on 610 Lundy Street and involved two men. The men got into a heated dispute which resulted in one shooting the other. Police are still investigating this shooting. Now, North Texas woman now charged with attempted capital murder and injury to a child after trying to drown two children, including a 3-year-old at an apartment complex. She also reportedly made racist statements. The Council on American Islamic Relations identified the family as Muslim and Palestinian, and they are calling state and federal authorities to investigate this case as a hate crime. The woman, identified as Elizabeth Wolf, that's right there on your screen, age 42, was pulled away from the children by bystanders. She reportedly made statements about the Muslim family not being Americans, and both children are now okay. And for your viewer poll today, we want to ask you, should those no longer deemed dangerous be spared the death penalty, yes or no? According to our results, it looks like 21% stand at yes and the remaining 79% stand at no. Thank you for voting on this viewer poll. And we're going to have an update on 25 News Now at 6. And the story relating to that viewer poll, Texas is scheduled to execute Romero Gonzalez by lethal injection Wednesday for a 2001 murder. The 41-year-old was convicted and sentenced to death in 2006 for the sexual assault and killing of 18-year-old Bridget Townsend. Gonzalez attorneys have appealed to the U.S. Supreme Court. They argue in part he should be ineligible for the death penalty under state law because he is no longer dangerous. His execution would be the first of two scheduled this week in the United States. And taking a pause on your news, let's take a look at your forecast with our chief meteorologist, Mac Bettis.
Very much. We had a few little showers roll around the area today. Nothing significant. Lasted about maybe 10-20 minutes. But tonight looks like Houston may be getting some big storms coming in from the north. They had a derecho that came right across all of East Texas. You can see it coming down right there. We'll be talking about that and taking a look at your weekend in just a moment. Back to you, Karina.
Mac, thank you. More than 100 Haitian migrants arrived in Florida Wednesday morning. Key West police say 118 migrants, including women and children, were on a 40-foot sailboat. They were reportedly at sea for about 7 days. No fatalities or major injuries were reported, but emergency responders did treat some migrants for dehydration. The migrants have been bused to Marathon, Florida to be processed by U.S. Border Patrol. And migrant apprehensions dropped over 40% since an executive order restricting asylum went into effect. The order bars migrants who cross the border illegally from seeking asylum once a daily threshold is met. Unless they meet certain expectations, they could be returned to their country of origin. Since the action was enacted, the Department of Homeland Security says the 7-day average number of apprehensions dropped to under 2,400 per day. President Biden's executive order will remain in effect until the daily average is less than 1,500. Now, the first presidential debate is one day away in Atlanta. President Biden and former President Trump facing off in the CNN debate airing right here on ABC. We're now getting a look at how both men are preparing in these final hours ahead.
One day away from the first presidential debate between President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump. The highly anticipated matchup coming as Trump is fresh off a historic criminal conviction.
I think it's risky for Biden to push too hard on the felony convictions. On the other hand, I don't think it can be avoided.
Trump reflecting on his past performances on the debate stage against Biden, namely the first one back in 2020, telling the Washington Examiner he was very aggressive.
I'm not going to answer the question.
Why
because,
would you answer that
because
question?
the question
you want to put a lot of
the
new
question
Supreme
is
Court justice,
the
radical
question,
left.
Will you shut up, man?
Listen.
Biden preparing for the big night from Camp David with 90-minute mock debates with his personal lawyer. Trump taking a different approach, holding policy meetings and media interviews.
We have a president debating a former president. We haven't had that in the history of presidential debates before.
On Capitol Hill, Republicans say Trump is ready.
I expect that you're going to see a sharp contrast between President Trump's positive agenda and Joe Biden's proven weakness.
Democrats backing Biden, zeroing in on women's reproductive rights.
Joe Biden will be standing on the debate stage tomorrow defending the right of women to seek an abortion, and Donald Trump must own his devastation.
Both campaigns have agreed to microphone muting and no live studio audience. Because of their age, the two candidates will certainly be scrutinized for their mental acuity and emotional stability. With the race still neck and neck, the pressure is on for both men in terms of opportunity and risk. Emwin, ABC News, Washington.
The White House and federal agencies may continue to ask social media platforms to remove content identified as misinformation. The ruling from the Supreme Court Wednesday is considered to be a key victory for the Biden administration ahead of this election. The ruling allows the Department of Homeland Security to continue to flag posts on Facebook and X that may be the work of foreign agents trying to dispute the elections. For several years, the administration has urged social media platforms to take down misleading posts on topics like vaccines, the pandemic, and the 2020 election. Now here are some of the top headlines you can read in the Port Lavaca wave. Memorial Medical Hospital was approved for a $2.5 million line of credit for its Medicaid program. And seafood farmers in Calhoun County have completed the Matagorda Bay oyster fishing program. You can read these stories and more at theportlavacawave.com. Now remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click that notification bell. For now, stay with us. Rises in heat illnesses are affecting several states. That's coming up on 25 News Now at 6. Also ahead, a pet owner's worst nightmare. Their dog now missing and the person responsible is nowhere to be found. Those details next.
Hi. I'm Detective Kelly Gibbs with the Victoria Police Department. On June 18, 2024, we shared some photos with you in reference to a credit card or debit card abuse investigation. Further investigation revealed the persons in those photos are not involved in the alleged crime and are not considered to be suspects in this crime. With the Victoria Crime Stoppers, I'm Detective Kelly Gibbs.
As the mercury rises, health officials are seeing a sharp increase in patients with heat-related emergencies. But not where you might think. While the south and southwest roast under temperatures in the 90s and triple digits, the states seeing the highest number of patients are in the northeast, mid-Atlantic, Midwest, and Mountain West, where it's 80 to 90 degrees. Health officials say it's important to take the threat seriously. On average, heat waves kill more people than any other extreme weather event. A Texas teacher is asking for help finding his pet after his dog disappeared in the care of a pet sitter he hired. Now, he found the dog walker on the popular app Rover, but how his Rottweiler vanished is not yet clear.
I haven't been on this walk in a couple weeks.
Walking this path in this park is painful because this is the place Juno played. Devin Garza's beloved 5-year-old Rottweiler disappeared.
I'm finding out even more now how much she means to me.
Garza left Juno with a pet sitter he found through an app called Rover. On June 10th, the sitter used the app to message him with news Juno escaped. Garza sent friends to the sitter's neighborhood until he could get back to town. Neighbors hadn't seen her. No doorbell camera ever recorded her. Juno never surfaced. And about 40 hours later, all contact with the sitter stopped. Garza complained to Rover. The app told him the sitter would not agree to provide him her phone number.
I feel like it should be harder to lose a dog than this.
The app told WFAA it is investigating and the sitter's account has been suspended. But Rover's website lists its terms of service, which say it is not liable, that use is at a pet owner's sole risk.
Obviously AirTag, microchip, and it sounds a little like, no, my dog's not going to do that, but you don't know what other people are going to do.
Rover did put up a reward and created flyers that Garza posted all over Denton.
The hope is that, I get my dog back.
Good job. Good job, Juno.
2 weeks, no news, but still desperately hoping Juno comes home. In Denton, I'm Teresa Woodard.
And that reward that Rover is offering is $1,000. The partial failure of a dam in Minnesota forced a local landmark to fall into the Blue Earth River. An 11-year-old boy recorded this dramatic video, and fortunately no one was inside the home at the time. The family that lived there had been evacuated. With Minnesota's historic flooding, the ground under the house had been undermined by water rushing around the 115-year-old dam, which was partially failed on Monday. And take a look at that video one more time. That house falling right into that dam. Luckily, no one was in there.
That's the power of erosion. Last week we had the storm, tropical storm Alberto, gave us some rain. This week we're sort of feeling all that tropical humidity. That's kind of what the weekend looks like. But then again, the tropics are very busy. We'll talk about that coming up after this. Our military hero of the month is
it wasn't part of the plan.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. It's 92 degrees right about now. It feels like 107. That's, it's humid. It's summertime. The temperatures are average for this time of the year. It's just that all that leftover moisture on the ground is making it feel uncomfortable. Our temperature should be at about 93, so we're right on the money in terms of the number. It's just how it feels with all that humidity. We actually had a quiet day with just a few little showers around the area, but you can see a big cluster of storms is rolling right into Houston right about now. Isn't it always fun when it rains during afternoon drive in Houston? Whoa, that's a mess. Well, as you can see right here, this was part of a derecho that began up in Arkansas last night and is rolling into that area tonight. You can, let's see, we can zoom out. You can see that line. It began in Oklahoma, came all the way down East Texas, big strong line of storms, and is now rumbling through the Houston area. Now there's Wharton, there's Conroe, no, there's Houston, there's Conroe, and you can see how the thunder showers are just rolling through right about there, the downtown area right now. Now there's some activity coming down to about Wharton. I really don't expect it to move into our region, but if you happen to be driving that direction, you may run into it. What's happening is that the bubble of high pressure that was over the Midwest, well, it's kind of moved around a little bit. That allowed that thunder shower activity to roll down. It's going to give us a little bit of a heat wave over the next couple of days, and then it's going to have a direct influence on what happens in the tropics over the next 7 days. Now, right now, the tropical door is a little bit farther south because the winds would take anything into northern Mexico. And as of today, we have two systems to watch. Now, the first one is right here north of Venezuela, or in the Caribbean. That is an invest area that has a weak possibility of developing. This one, which is out in the mid-Atlantic, actually off the coast of West Africa, that one has a good potential to become Beryl, B-E-R-Y-L, something like that. That's within about 5 days. So it's a good ways out, but we're certainly watching it. Let's see what the first one may have to do with us. They're both, of course, in this pink area, which gives you the maximum potential for them to develop. That's because the water's warm, the air's warm, there's no shear, all of that. Now, while we're only doing the mid-90s tomorrow, the rest of the state is really under a heat wave. As a matter of fact, you can see right here, most of the counties from Kansas down into the crossroads are in a heat wave. The biggest bubble, though, or the biggest spot, or the bullseye for the heat, is going to be in North Texas and Oklahoma, where they're looking at very hot temperatures over the next couple of days. Now, here's Future Tracker, and we're looking at the one that's in the Caribbean right now, and you'll notice how it's sort of moving in that direction. It looks like it's going to be rolling into the Yucatan Peninsula, then into the Bay of Campeche. Now, pressures to the north are so strong that it's going to push that south. So let's just say that right now it looks like it's almost going to follow the path of Alberto, but I don't think that it'll have much to do with us. Okay, so we're looking partly cloudy tomorrow, 1 or 2 isolated showers, getting up to about 93, 95 in the inland areas, and then a low-grade chance. I don't think it's going to ruin your weekend, just wringing out the last remaining moisture. But after that, for early next week, looks like we got a heat wave getting back up into the mid to upper 90s. That's your 7-day forecast, reminding everybody we do have a QR code. We'd love for you to scan that and put Crossroads Today on your phone. Folks, we've got our Military Hero of the Month story that's coming up right now.
Our Military Hero of the Month is Corporal Oscar Pulido. Growing up here in Victoria, he says he never had any plans for going into the service.
It wasn't part of the plan at the moment. I was actually going to go to the Fire Academy in A&M, send in my deposit, do the whole 9 yards. It was right around Desert Storm. Going to say it was Super Bowl probably 25, 91-ish. Whitney Houston sang the national anthem. I had a few of my buddies that had already gone to service right after graduation, graduated in 90. Like I said, I had no intentions of serving. War started, Desert Storm started. Whitney Houston sang the national anthem. The next day I was at the recruiting office.
Although Oscar was not picked to go overseas, there were plenty of missions to accomplish.
We kind of set up Guantanamo Bay with the Haitian migrants that were coming over. It wasn't nothing like it is now. I mean, it was just shacks and concertina wire pretty much.
After his tour of duty, Oscar came home and tried to readjust to civilian life.
I mean, you get out of service and it's kind of a culture shock. You know, you kind of get out thinking that, okay, the world's going to be handed to me now because I served. I was a Marine, you know, and that's not quite the deal. You know, you get out and you're, jumping from job to job. You're self-medicating, and you don't know why you're self-medicating. You don't even know you had issues.
So here at home, Oscar is dealing with individual cases, dealing with issues that were born far away.
But I just went and talked to him and said, hey, what you got going on? And he was high out of his head. He was on black tar heroin. I talked him into going to the VA. We went to the ER first. We went to the ER. From there, we ended up at the VA. He got some help, got some treatment. Long story short, I mean, the guy's thriving.
As many are aware, the homeless veteran problem is a complex issue. But with veterans like Oscar, solutions are nearby.
All right, local vets, community. I mean, we're here, I like to say, just to walk the journey with you. If your normal is being down, being depressed, believe me, it's not normal. That's what I used to feel. You know, I'm always the guy, why aren't you smiling? You know, we're getting you never smile for pictures. So that's your normal. It's not normal. You know, you're around my age. We've got a lot less years ahead of us than we have behind us. And you deserve a whole lot more than to be sitting around in a dark room, drunk or self-medicated with whatever means you have, because there's help. I mean, no one's meant to be alone.
If you are a veteran and you just need someone to talk to, the Veteran Center is at the Patty Dobson Public Health Department, 2805 North Navarro.
You'll probably start seeing, I just got a car wrapped that was donated to the MVPN. You'll see it up and down the street if you haven't seen it yet. Got the big old 22 on the side. And people ask, why you put 22? Well, it's 22 a day. There's 22 veterans a day that are taking their lives. The Memorial Day just passed, and we talk about those we've lost on the battlefield. And this year I actually came to me that, yeah, we're losing a lot here at home too because of the battlefield. So if you're one of those guys and you're thinking about suicide, you're thinking about just checking out, just wanting to be alone, if you're isolating, I mean, reach out. I mean, we're here to help.
If you know a veteran with a story to tell, go to crossroadstoday.com/military hero and tell us about it. I'm Maclovio Perez, 25 News Now.
And thank you, Mac, for that inspiring military hero. Now let's toss it over to Zach with your sports.
Yeah, great job, Mac. And what a difference a week make. The Astros season right back on track, and they did it with the help of a former Victoria General. That's coming up in sports. The new head coach of Texas baseball is Jim Schlossnagle, who of course just led Texas A&M to within one game of college baseball glory. And after that game 3, a reporter asked him about the Texas job. He snapped. He has since issued an apology today at his introductory press conference, saying the reporter was a great young reporter and reiterated how thankful he was for the Aggies program.
This wasn't obviously a move from one school to another school. This is a great rivalry, and couldn't be more thankful and humbled by the support that I got there, that we got there from some awesome players, staff, and administration.
Schlossnagle also taking a lot of staff with him. 7 days ago, the Astros were 7 games below 500, 10 games back of first place in the West, and slipping their season slipping away. But what a difference a week makes. The Astros have won 7 in a row and are 8-2 in their last 10 ball games. They swept the Orioles in 3 and took their 2 games against the Colorado Rockies. On the mound today for Houston, former Victoria General Spencer Arrighetti, who was excellent. 7 innings, giving up just 3 hits, 0 runs. Astros win 7-1. Now just 4.5 back of first place and just 3 games out of that last wild card spot. And while a former Victoria General pitches for the hottest baseball team in the major leagues, the hottest TCL team is right here in Victoria. The Generals have already wrapped up a playoff spot and the 1 seed. They welcomed the Brazos Valley Bombers to town yesterday. Small 2-0 lead in the third. The guys working the count, playing some small ball. The run scores on the squeeze play and the runner safe at first. It's 3-0. Bombers pitching could not find the strike zone in this frame. They load the bases for Mark Henning, who smokes one over the right field wall to grand slam. The Generals pulling it on early. It was then 7-0. They would score 9 runs in the ball game. Henning led in the RBI category. On the mound for the home squad, Jonathan Valdez, who said before the game it was his 3rd time around facing Brazos Valley, so he knew the batters pretty well, and he pitched pretty well. 5 1/3 innings, just the 1 earned run. He gets the win, and they're back at it tonight. Soccer star Alex Morgan will not be on the U.S. women's team roster for the Paris Olympics next month. It's as the national team undergoes a changing of the guard. Head coach Emma Hayes on Wednesday named her 22-player roster for the 2024 Olympic Games. Hayes acknowledged difficult choices in setting this year's roster. Morgan shared her disappointment on social media, calling the Olympic experience a tournament close to her heart, but she added that she will cheer on the team along with all other Americans. And tonight, the NBA draft is at 7 p.m. right here on KAVU. The Rockets selecting at number 3, the Spurs selecting at number 4, but the Rockets could stay put and select someone, but word has it they might be swinging for the fences, trying to land a Durant or Devin Booker or even a Jimmy Butler. Rockets apparently trying to win now. That is it for your sports. Karina, back to you.
Thanks, Zach, and we're going to be back in a moment. How much would you pay for a shoe? Elvis Presley's blue suede shoes are now up for auction. could be in the shoes of the late king of rock and roll. Elvis Presley's famous blue suede shoes are up for grabs at the British auction house. The opening bid starts Friday at nearly $70,000. They're expected to go up for about $150,000, and they were worn by Presley both on and off stage during the 1950s. You guys want to?
Yeah, I would buy those.
You want to go half on it?
I would buy those, yeah.
I'll shoot highlights during CFL season.
And
I was
those
running up the
suede shoes?
sideline, yeah.
You look pretty sharp.
I think so.
Yeah.
You're not going to be running around in those shoes.
Yes, I would. Yes, I would. I paid $150,000 for them. Why wouldn't I?
He's got to wear them out every
You
day.
got to preserve them for posterity.
Oh, yeah.
Because they'll be worth more in a couple years too.
You can sell them for $300.
They'll be worth more when they're on CFL. That's the biggest show in the world, dude.
They'll be worth more because Zach wore them.
I'm sure. Just kidding. All right, well, what about this weather, Mac?
Well, we're looking for fewer showers as we get to the weekend and warming temperatures. We should be in the mid-90s into the weekend and even a little warmer next week.
All righty, thank you, Mac, and thank you for joining us. We hope to see you back here tonight for 25 News Now at 10.
My shoes are ugly.